Lynn, are we good to go? We're good to go. We'll leave the doors open for a last couple of late arrivals. But a proper formal good morning to everybody from me, Bill Ronald, who is lucky enough and very humbled to be the Chair of Trustees of MDC. And in front of me and to my right, I have another band of, not bandits really, they're mainly trustees. We've got 5 trustees with us today. So we've got Ian, Philippa, Sheila, Gwen, and AJ, who's come all the way from Northern Ireland today. Isn't that good? Has anyone come further than that this morning? Well done, you get the prize, AJ, for distance.
And AJ's mum as well.
Yeah, Cindy's done the same journey, so well done, Cindy. But this day, can I just also maybe ask a bit of audience participation here? Who is here for their first MDC conference? Have we got any? Yes. Look at that. Fantastic. Well, a really extra special welcome to all of you attending for the first time. I don't want to diminish the value we get from everybody else who's returned. I think that's a good signal to the new boys and girls, isn't it? It can't be that bad if 2/3 are returning for another conference session. And I think the points that really I would want to make sure we get across about today is that it's much less about the people standing up here on the stage, certainly the trustees. It's not a day for the trustees. It's absolutely a day that is designed around our view of what you, the members and the supporters of Muscular Dystrophy campaign, want to get out of a conference venue. So over the last couple of years, Lynn and the team will have received quite a lot of feedback, and every time we get that, we try and take it on board to make sure that the next conference is even better than the one before. So the same applies today. Don't hold back on your punches. If you get to the end of the day and you think, that wasn't bad, but it would have been better if, you'll have an evaluation form on which you can make sure we get that message. But coming back to the reason we're here, it's because I think the majority, if not everybody in the room, will have a connection with one of the muscular dystrophies. And any of us who are in that situation, mine's slightly separate or distant. I've got a little nephew with Becker muscular dystrophy. But we all, I think, understand and appreciate the impact that whatever form of the condition you're connected with, it can be a very significant impact on the life of you or your loved one who you're supporting. But really importantly, one of the things that I've learned very clearly over the last 4 years that I've been the chairman of the charity is that nobody's looking for sympathy. That's the message I'm picking up. It's just we want to make sure that the right things get done and the right improvements are made, and that the quality of independent living that we can help anyone affected with these conditions can continually be raised to the right level. So it is for that reason that I think anyone connected with the charity continues that fight, so that we really can put our backs into beating the condition and beating the issues that come with it. Just one little very recent experience that a few of us here, not very many I think, saw, but it really impacted on me. Just 2 nights ago, we held a very big function. It wasn't actually, we're the chosen charity for this function. It's called the Microscope Ball. It's organised by the property industry in London. So there's lots of business people who go, they're going just to have a good time, frankly. That's why people go to balls and to network. But for 31 years now, they've been supporting our charity. They've raised over £2 million for us. And on Thursday evening, we had a young chap, Jonathan Gilmer, who's got Duchenne muscular dystrophy. He's got very limited mobility. He's on a respirator. And he held 750 people absolutely silent for about 7 minutes as he explained what living with Duchenne was like. But he lifted the spirits of that group, because this young man is currently at Cambridge University, where he's already got a first-class honours degree. He's already achieved a master's degree, and he's now working his way towards his PhD. So he's shortly to become Dr. Jonathan Gilmer. So I think the message that the 750 slightly inebriated individuals in the room got was that there are no limits, really. We all see the physical impact, but if you're strong here, you can really achieve a huge amount. And that, for me, was just another reason to be very positive and upbeat about what we and you together can do to keep this charity moving forward. So today, we've got, I think, a really good agenda that the team have put together for you. Just before I whiz through that, we're here at, I think, very limited cost, partly because we've got some great sponsors who've supported this event. So just to mention, most of them have got stalls or stands outside, and you can engage with them during the day. But we've got Cirrus Automotive, the Mobility Superstore, the Complete Group, Pressolit Care, Dorset Orthopaedic, Mybility, and Toby Churchill. So please, well, why don't we just warm up, even though it is a bit too hot in this room, I think, by saying a big thank you to our sponsors. I'm just realising on my notes here, I am also bound to tell you that we're not expecting a fire alarm today, so if the bell does go off, we'll make an orderly exit through any of the doors with the fire exit symbols on them. And I think toilets, everybody knows. If you don't know, the team at the back will make certain you're guided to the appropriate place, because it can be embarrassing if you get the wrong one. Children, I don't see them in the room at the moment, so that means probably the good news is they've already led their mums and dads up to the creche, where they're going to be having an equally good time this morning. Can I just do what I always have to do? Remind the mums and dads, don't forget to collect them at lunchtime, okay? I know you'd like a nice romantic lunch together, but they deserve to be fed too. And then finally, in terms of the housekeeping points, we're all seeing, I'm admitting I'm not quite fully up to speed with it yet, but social media is flying in all directions. And we, the charity, we're making a particular push, as many of you will already know, on Twitter, just to be certain that we spread the word, that anyone who's not able to come today is aware of what's going on. So if you're a tweeter, then please log on and feel free. We won't tell you off for using your phone. Put it on silent, mind you, and make sure you do spread the word. There is a Wi-Fi code that's available. It's the BT Open Zone when you go onto your settings, and the access code is the number up behind me here. I'm not sure if it's the same one on the tables. Is it, Lynn? It's not. So you might need to, at a quiet moment, just check, because it's CVTHN842. That's on the table. So that number's on the tables. Okay, so that will get you into your Wi-Fi access. Okay, we're nearly raring to go with a terrific conference. We've got some very interesting and I think equally inspirational speakers who are going to be coming up shortly after our AGM, where we'll be hearing from Gary Bennett. We're going to hear from our esteemed Chief Executive, Mr. Meadowcroft. And Robert's got some really exciting updates, I think, about the progress that he and the wonderful team at the charity are making, because the thing as trustees that we're given the duty to do is to make certain that the charity and the executive are moving on the right strategy in the right direction. And I think I can say, looking at my fellow trustees without any fear of contradiction, that collectively the trustees are thinking we're in a really good place with our executive, and we're in a really good place with the performance of the charity, a bit more of which you're going to hear about later. And that is important. We don't always like to talk and sound as if we're being commercial and interested in money, but frankly, if you're a charity, unless you do that, there's not much sense in being here, is there? So we're going to be continually demanding, continually expecting to find generous donors who are going to help us on the road that we're travelling to keep winning the battle. And following that, what is often, I hear, one of the most valuable parts of the day begin. We're going to have 2 breakout sessions where, at your own choice, and it's all on the agenda, so I won't go through each of them, but there's a very comprehensive list of interactive sessions where you can decide which piece of that breakout session is going to be most valuable to you. And in between the 2 sessions, we will feed you, I promise. So I think the day then comes back to the final 2 sessions, another inspirational message from Vicky, followed by the wonderful Sue Barker, who will, yet again, have given up her Saturday to come along to the charity that she's the president of, that she loves, to share her President's Awards. So it's much better than the Oscars, our President's Awards. Look forward to that. And my job, really, the easy bit, is I'm going to do everything in my power to get us all out of here by 4:30. You might just get back in time to hear how your football team's done if we do that. So, with no further ado, I think we will get what some people call the less interesting part of the day out of the way. I think we can do this quite quickly, but in saying that, I don't want to stop anybody who's got a question around the AGM. We're duty-bound as a charity to have a formal AGM. It involves the trustees, it involves the members of the charity, and I think we've got about 20, Lynn said. But here today. Here today, we've got about 20. Can the members put their hands up? So there we are. We've got a good sprinkling of members, but what I would just encourage everybody else to do is to think about signing up to be a member. It doesn't cost you anything. And what it means is you get the opportunity then to vote at AGMs, you get the opportunity to influence the direction the charity's going in, and actually you just get that feeling that I'm doing something now. I'm not just living with the condition or connected with it, but I'm actually engaging with the charity. So open invitation, speak to any of the members of staff who are here today. Can I just ask them to make themselves known? If you're one of our team at MDC, can you put your hand up, please, so everyone can see you? Have a good look round. Choose the ones you like the look of best. And then you can go and pin them down later on to ask about what it takes to fill in the form to become a member. So, let me now maybe try and squeeze in the middle here beside Robert. Well, I won't. It's going to be easier for me to do it from up here, I think, and we'll go through what I would call are mainly the formalities of the AGM. So I'm opening the AGM, I'm welcoming you all here yet again, and I'd now like to confirm with the members that we can approve the minutes, which all the members will have had a copy of last year's AGM as an accurate reflection. Are we happy, members, that the minutes are an accurate reflection? I'm seeing nods, I'm seeing hands. Are there any objectors to the minutes? In which case, well done, that's ticked off and approved. Then we are asked to receive the trustees' report and the statement of accounts. And there should be available for anyone who's really interested, even if you're not a member, they're not secret, there should be available a copy of the MDC's accounts. And there will also be, around and about, I'm sure, if you haven't already seen it, what we call our impact report. I really would suggest everybody has a look at this impact report, because what that is effectively, it's our report card. It says, this is what we promised we'd do, this is what we've done, and this is what we're going to do next. And the good news, as I've already alluded, is if I'm the headmaster, I'm actually saying it's been a pretty good year. Well done, good behaviour, good effort, and more importantly, great achievements during the year. But without being flip about it, you'll actually see the nitty-gritty in this impact report. So please grab a copy of that, or ask for a copy if you see somebody. So the final piece in that formality is to give everyone a quick review of where our financial position stands as a charity. I've mentioned it's improved dramatically in the last 4 years, which I think is testimony, probably to many of you in the room, because I'm sure we've got some fantastic fundraisers sitting with us today. It's a great testament to Rebecca and the whole team who engage with all the various activities that we follow to generate those funds. And I think it's also great testimony to the controls that people like Jenny, our finance director, put on to make sure we spend as little as we can and raise as much as we can, so that everything that's left goes into what we want it to make a difference, which is our research, our clinical care programs, and our independent living programs. But I'm going to ask our, I think your Deputy Treasurer, Ian, amongst many other things. I know you have. But Ian Gordon has kindly agreed to run us quickly through a summary of the finances of the charity. So this is really our company accounts for the last financial year. Ian.
Thank you. Shall I?
Yeah.
Morning all. I'm one of the, or am the less inspirational speaker today as I'm talking through the accounts. I also have a heavy cold. I'm not seeking sympathy, but you can if you want to. I'll leave it to you. But it does mean I'll run through the numbers probably even quicker than usual. Having said that I'm the non-inspirational speaker, I think it's fair to say that, as Bill's already said, we had a great year in 2013-2014, running out at 6.6 million in terms of total incoming resources, compared to 4.6 million the year before. Makeup of those numbers, 6.6 million. I know everyone can read what's up there, but quickly go through. 32% in terms of events, volunteer fundraising, 3% major donors, regular giving 10%, corporate giving 6%, trusts 10%, and a whopping legacies of 35%. Okay, to some degree the numbers are slightly skewed by that, but you know, the numbers are there and it's been a fantastic result from that point of view. Expenditure, 3.7 million as against 2.2 million the year before, which is a fantastic increase. What we decided to do as a board of trustees, being conscious of the wonderful year we had last year, was to designate 850,000 for research to be spent over future years. Against that real increase in expenditure, we managed to hold resources expended on generating income, our costs, at almost exactly the same level, actually 2,000 less, and governance costs, relatively straightforward, total resources expended 5.8 million. In terms of our expenditure, that really breaks down the three main things we do during the year. So research, big chunk of that, 57%. Care, including healthcare, advocacy, etc., 31%. And communications, 11%. Our funds, as of 31st of March 2014, are there to be seen. Clearly the point that stands out is in terms of total, 4.8 million as against 2.9 million. What's also encouraging is the big change in the unrestricted funds, which I know is something we tasked the executive on very much in terms of the unrestricted funds are what helps us effectively run the charity and be able to support a whole range of activities. Restricted is really important, but the balance of getting those two where they are now is a tremendous achievement over the last year. So breakdown of that again. Again, I'm not going to go into detail. You can see the numbers as they're stated there. Moving on to the balance sheet. Same story, inevitably, in terms of talking about the strength going forward and Bill's comments about what an excellent year it's been. And that concludes the run through the finances. Very happy to take any questions.
Do we have any questions for Ian on the finances? Not compulsory, don't worry. Well done, Ian. That's great. So thank you very much. And I think the headline's clear. We're in pretty good shape, but frankly, it's never good enough because there's always more we could do to get more investment available for the areas that we know we can spend wisely on. So if I can move on to membership of the Board of Trustees, we had a big sort of re-election and a couple of new or three new trustees last year. It's a quieter year this year. Every 3 years, the one or other or a group of our 14 trustees have to either stand for re-election or sometimes they step down, and we therefore need to re-elect individuals. In any charity, if it's well run, the Board of Trustees should be a really good cross-section. So you want to have people with experience from all walks of life. In our case, from a range of conditions, not just one specific muscular dystrophy, but we've got a really good cross-section of connections with conditions. I think something like 12 out of 14, at least, Robert, of our trustees would say that they have got a personal link to one of the muscular dystrophies, which of course means that they really know why it matters to help steer this charity the right way. And last year, or this year, current year, we formally said goodbye to Professor Richard Hughes, who stood down after what I would call an absolutely wonderful set of 2 terms as a trustee for the charity. He was a very preeminent neuroscientist. He was one of the smartest chaps I've ever come across. I was always shaking as the chairman because he would always come up with the killer questions, but he was such a gentleman and he did it in such a constructive way that we're going to miss him. We're going to miss him badly, but it was time for Richard to go off and enjoy his full retirement, I think. But as one door closes, another one opens, and we're delighted to have had Marcus Brown, who's been working with the charity for about 3 years in a number of different areas, but particularly on the finance committee. And Marcus has been a good fundraiser up till now. He's also connected in terms of personally having a condition, and critically, he's desperately keen to contribute. And I'm pleased to confirm that Marcus has been nominated by the board. There were no other nominations, and therefore I think today we're effectively confirming his appointment. So that's great news. He's desperately sorry he can't be here today. just at the beginning of this week, he had a family health issue, which he, as I'm sure you'll understand, felt in balance, had to come ahead of his presence here today. He's committed to being with us next year. We also today would like to confirm the co-option of Shona McFarlane, Robert, thank you. I was just about to get excited and say a great Scot, like I am, so I thought MacDonald was a good Scottish name, but of course, Shona, I do apologise. I know you're not here, but someone's going to tweet that, aren't they? Shona McFarlane, who is the chair of our Scottish Council and is now also, with that role, co-opted onto the Board of Trustees. So with AJ in Northern Ireland, Shona coming from the Scottish region, we just need some Welsh now on our trustee board, and I think we've got the full coverage that we need. So that might be one of our next objectives. The final point on the AGM business is to reappoint our auditors. We've got a really good set of auditors called BDO, who are about the 5th biggest auditors in the country, and they have professionally audited our accounts. It's all done with the very strict controls. We're not talking about Tesco here. We're talking about the Muscular Dystrophy campaign, and our accounts have been officially approved by BDO. Jenny, our finance director, I know, who's new this year, but has been really happy with their position and support. They've been endorsed by the trustees, and I think we're just looking today to get that final endorsement from the members. So can we ask for that endorsement from the members? Excellent. So BDO are going to be delighted. They'll be out tonight celebrating on the back of that, I've no doubt. Any other business on the AGM before we get into why we're really here, which is some very exciting presentations, conversations, and breakout sessions? Anybody got a question at the AGM? Wonderful. Well, thank you very much for great listening on that. I hope you're not quite as warm as I am. Is it really hot in this room? Lynn, can we keep telling them 20 minutes? It's not just my hot air then. That's good. So there is a spare table which might be cooler. If anyone's looking for a seat at the back or whatever, feel free to make your way across, because there's 7 or 8 spare seats in the far corner here. Right. Well, now it is my great pleasure to really get the conference going and kick off with our first speaker. I'm hoping that Gary's here, because I went looking for him and I know he was checking in when I went. Gary is here. Marvellous. I'm going to, first of all, thank our trustees for coming up and presenting themselves. Thank you, trustees. DFSG. And actually, Philip has just reminded me the DFSG AGM, the Duchenne Family Support Group AGM, will be at noon in this room. So when we break at that point, if you're a member of that group, come along and see Philippa and the team. But let me introduce Gary, who is about to tell you about the fantastic 1 in a Million campaign, Abby's campaign for their gorgeous daughter, Abby, who's got Ullrich congenital dystrophy. It's a very rare condition, and she's got a very rare dad and mum, I know, who have done a wonderful job on fundraising. So please, a really big welcome for Gary. I'll get out the way, Gary. Try not to kick that. Thank you. Well done.
Right, good morning, everybody. Thanks for that wonderful introduction, Bill. Okay, so when the Muscular Dystrophy campaign asked me to talk about our fundraising efforts and Abby 1 in a Million, I was only too happy to oblige, because I think it's important to let everyone know what's going on in the world and what we're doing. Basically, we set up this fund about 3 years ago, and we've been on quite a journey in that time. And I think the main aim today, I mean, looking at all these wonderful faces around me, if we can inspire at least one of you guys to start actively fundraising for the Muscular Dystrophy campaign, then it makes our journey a little bit more worthwhile. So, moving on. This wonderful, beautiful girl you see on screen is our daughter Abby. She's a little bit about her. She's 6 years old. She's, as she says, she's beautiful, she's caring, she's lots of fun to be around. She has 3 sisters, 2 older, 1 younger, Ashley, Amber and Ava. Ava and they're all upstairs in the creche, probably causing havoc as we speak. She loves to sing, so if you do want to go and walk past the creche, Frozen's on, and you're into that, you'll hear a great rendition of that. One thing I admire about Abby the most, she's only 6, but she's fiercely independent, you know, considering the limitations she faces every day. You know, she happens to have a very rare muscle condition, or congenital muscular dystrophy. And she was obviously our inspiration behind setting up a family fund. With the help of the Muscular Dystrophy campaign, we did that in 2011, so like I say, we've been going for roughly around 3 years. So, Abby's campaign, 1 in a million. I said Abby has Ulrich congenital muscular dystrophy. This affects 1 in every million babies born, hence the name Abby 1 in a million. She has a delay of onset and walking and subsequent physical problems such as respiratory problems, mobility issues and things like that. There's currently no treatment or cure available, and obviously our main goal is to raise money to fund research into the condition. You know, it's really important that happens to us as families, and we've met some fantastic people along the way, some other families who share the same goals, what we're trying to achieve. So like I say, hopefully we can inspire a few people today to get on board and get behind us. So, raising awareness. So how did it begin for us? I think initially, when it took us a while to come to terms with Abby's diagnosis, and we got that in, like I say, in April 2011. And it's fair to say, in the first 6 months of the diagnosis, we had a lot of emotional up and downs as a family, trying to come to terms with what this meant for Abby and what it meant for, and the impact that would have us generally as a family. And it wasn't until Abby's nursery actually threw a charity fund day and invited us along, and you know, so they wanted to donate the funds to the Muscular Dystrophy campaign. And at that event, we met our local fundraising manager, who said to me, "Oh, there's a shark dive coming up. If you're interested in doing that." And well, she said that to both my wife and I. Actually, my wife declined, and you know, funnily enough. But I said, "Yep, let's crack on. I'll have a go at that." So we signed up for it, and I think we had to raise a minimum of £400, but I managed to convince a friend of mine to do it with me. So we went up to £800 that we had to raise, and we smashed that in less than 48 hours. We put it out on Facebook and to all our friends and family, and it was really bizarre actually, because we struggled to come to terms with what was going on around us. We hadn't really spoken in detail to, you know, further afield of our family circle, and it just turns out that all of our friends and family were just itching to get involved, and as soon as we said we were doing something, it just it blew up big time. And I think, so I did the shark dive, and I think we raised £3,000 for our first event. You know, it was incredible. And the rest, as they say, is kind of history. We've been doing this now for 3 years. So, as I said, what we did to raise awareness, I thought, right, what's the next step? What can we do? We've really got to, as well as raising money, the awareness is just as important, as I'm sure you're all aware in this room, of the conditions that muscular dystrophy brings. So, you know, we naturally just hit the local newspapers. You know, I emailed everybody, I phoned everyone, started to be a bit of a pest, saying, you know, this is an incredibly rare condition. You know, we need coverage, we need to raise awareness of it. So, and we got into our local paper first, and then it went kind of national. It just kind of took off, and we had interest from the Daily Mail, and there was a story in Take a Break magazine, and you know, it really helped our momentum, and it kind of started, you know, just snowballing from there. This followed kind of with some coverage from local radio stations, so we got on some interviews, and we did that. And in fact, just this week we were on BBC West Midland WM with Danny Kelly, just talking about fundraising that's been going on in terms of research that the Muscular Dystrophy campaign are doing, which was great feedback from that. And I think once all this had happened, we kind of realised that there was just an amazing support network out there for us to tap into, and realised that we actually weren't on our own. And although there's only a few people doing it, it's amazing what a few people can do and the difference you can make. So, you know, it really kind of inspired us to really fight for our goals, which is ultimately is to find a possible treatment or cure and make sure that the research continues to happen. Just got a few of our fundraising events that we've done. Charity race nights, quizzes, there's some great photos here. We had charity football match, which we played against Aston Villa Old Stars. We got hammered 9-3. It was Lee Hendry destroyed us. I don't know if anyone knows who Lee Hendry is. He used to be an ex-Villa player, and he's incredibly fit for 34. I'm not going to lie. Trying to chase him was just... But I lived, and I'm here. And we raised about £4,000 at that event. It was fantastic. Skydive, which was, I'm sure some of you have done for Dystrophy Team 100. I've done this twice, and it's an awesome way of raising money. So, you know, I would say that's one of my favourite things to do. Depends what you're into, though, you know. Abseiling, my wife abseiled down Warsaw Art Museum, which is an incredible achievement considering she's petrified of heights. So that was an incredible event too. And there's a couple more photos. I think over the last 3 years, thanks to the Muscular Dystrophy campaign, they have been really kind of pivotal in moving us forward, and they introduced us to the Kings Heath and Moseley Muscular Dystrophy campaign group. And some of them you may have heard of them. They're one of the longest running groups that we've got. Have been going for around 50 years or so. I think they helped us kind of understand what it meant to put on a fundraiser, what was needed to do. So all these events that you see here, we went to their charity night, race night, just to get an idea of how it worked and all that. And I mean, on our first one, we raised £2,300. It's like, wow, that was really easy to do. You know, it wasn't minimal effort, and we got this support network that was supporting us, and it was just fantastic. So we've decided to make that an annual event. Makes sense, you know, it's easy money, as they say. I think from that we've developed that social circle of friends and family, and I think they all bring their own set of skills to the table to help you, and you know, that continues to help us on our fundraising journey. These are obviously a list of all the things we've done, and there's various things. Like I mentioned, the shark dive, charity calendars. Probably should say naked charity calendars under there. So we've still got some of those available. We didn't sell them all, but you know. So see me afterwards if you want one. So as you can see, it's quite extensive. And if fundraising is something that you are thinking about doing, you're not quite there, you want to be involved, you know, I know it can be quite a daunting prospect, and, you know, maybe you don't know who to ask or turn to. I mean, obviously the first port of call is to speak to the Muscular Dystrophy campaign. That's what we did, and they put us in touch with our local fundraising manager, and there's just lots of information available, and there's lots of things you can do, hence the list on here. I mean, you can, first of all, speak to your friends and your family, you know, speak to work colleagues. You know, if you work for any business or anything, you know, they do match funding. It's just about asking that initial question. They can only say no, but often they will look at you and hopefully, you know, support you. But I think the most important thing around all these events is that it's just so much fun. Do you know what I mean? In the last 3 years, I've had the time of my life, you know what I mean, in terms of some of the things that we've done in shark dive, the wolf runs, we've made friends, and, you know, it's relationships really that will probably last forever. Do you know what I mean? And that is priceless in itself, because when the going gets tough, you know you can rely on these people. And I think you soon realise that even if it's, however big your event is, whether it's a small event and you've put on a cake sale at a local school, or you're doing a run with 30 people or whatever it is, you know, you'll find that people just come together and help you, and you're not alone, and that's really important to remember. And as a saying goes that I've heard in the last few weeks over talking with the Muscular Dystrophy campaign, is that we're stronger together, and I think that's got to be a crucial message, that you know, strength in numbers, work together, and it's amazing what you can achieve. Next slide. So, again, I mentioned the Muscular Dystrophy campaign, Kings Heath and Moseley, and I just want to say a special thank you to them, because thank you. They, like I say, they've been around for 50 years, and they've got a wealth of experience, and have raised, you know, I think in realms of nearly £500,000 for the campaign, which is just incredible. So, you know, someone like this to tap into is brilliant for experience. It's become very personal, because we went to their events, they have come to our events, and they've got to know Abby, and I think that's what we try and do as a campaign. It's a very personal thing to us, but I think the way to tap into people is to make it very personal to them. Lots of people pull on charity events, and it's like, oh, okay, I'll do this for whatever, for British Heart Foundation or Cancer Research, and you never really know where your money's going. And I think we've got the privilege to actually give you exact details where our money's going, where it's going, what your money, the difference it makes. And that's just so much more beneficial to supporters. It really brings people out the world. So actually, well, I want to do this now. I want to help you. I want to get behind you. So, you know, that's really important. As you can see, unfortunately, Muir couldn't be here today because he's running a charity auction for us. So he's, you know, as you can see him in action there, he's pretty fantastic. You know, and that's incredible. I mean, his support has been just brilliant, and we couldn't have done it without him. So a massive thank you to these guys. So where are we at the moment? In total, to date, we've raised in 3 years £32,000 on our own, which, you know, I think is just an incredible amount of money. When you think that we started off with that initial £800 target, it's just kind of gone crazy. Now, obviously, that's not just our efforts as a family. We're just so thankful and grateful for the support that we have got, because we couldn't have done it without them. And I think they make everything possible, and we need that, and we need to continue to raise that. So, like I say, if you know, we can inspire anybody in this room to get actively involved in it, and we've done our job. We were lucky enough last year to meet Sue Barker here. Well, it wasn't here. Sorry, we've moved venue, haven't we? We were in Nottingham last year, and I mean, that is great to get, but again, it's better for the supporters to actually, it recognises the hard work that they do for us, and because we're not about the awards, which it's a lifetime thing for us. We're committed to, regardless. It's not about the awards. It's about just recognising the people, because that motivates the people that are helping you. It says, well, actually, look, this is true recognition, and Sue Barker always, you know, hi Sue, but that's another story. So, and just in terms of what it can mean, I think I was lucky enough this year to be invited along to Parliament to go and meet Earl Howell, the Health Secretary, to discuss early access to rare disease medicines. And I think, you know, considering 3 years ago when we got Abby's diagnosis, and there was very little information about the condition, 3 years later I'm in Parliament talking about, you know, potential fast-tracking treatments that could, you know, in Abby's lifetime be available. So, just wow. Do you know what I mean? It's incredible. And again, that wouldn't have been achieved without some of the people in this room, and we're eternally grateful. So thank you. So a little bit more light-hearted now. So I wanted to talk a little bit about the Wolf Run, because this was the last major event we did, and I don't know if any of you know, this wild running thing is going crazy at the moment. So if you are thinking about doing an event, I would recommend getting a group of people to do this. We did it last year and got 9 people, and then this year we had 20 people, and it was tough. But it's just the fun you have on that course is brilliant, and it's not a disappointing thing to do. You have lots of fun, and you get really, really muddy. So, but those are the people, and that's me in the front there, just as Ninja Turtles. Absolutely. By the way, you don't stay green. I think after the first 10 minutes, you're kind of just caked in mud. So, from that, for those 20 people, we raised £4,500, you know, which was just an absolute incredible amount of money. We set the guys a target of raising £40 initially, just to cover the cost of the run. But like I say, you know, when people start talking and working together, it's soon, you know, you can generate massive amounts of money, and that for us was just fantastic. So, leading up to that one, and never want to miss an opportunity. Well, these are some fun pics that we had. Sorry, so we had most important thing. Let's say we had lots of fun, and it was a really good day. Have I gone too far? There we go. So, never want to miss an opportunity. One of the things we found is all our events we slip this little slide in, just kind of to have a chat about it and say, you know, it's a really easy way to make some money, and there's no pressure, right? But if you want to get your phones out and text any amount to Abby 1 in a million 99 to 70070, feel free, and there's no pressure. But there you go, it's out there, and if you think of an idea, that's brilliant, because that really does kind of work. And I think of all our events, we put that into our quizzes, and you know, we've raised a little bit of money. So it's definitely the way forward. So, and if you need to contact us in any way, you can get us through the Muscular Dystrophy campaign website. We're there and ready to go. You can email us, and please feel free to get in contact. We're happy to discuss about our journey and share information. You know, I think, as this is a conference about moving forward, we need to work together, because we are stronger together, and we can achieve anything. And we have to start to take things to the next level, and it's strength in numbers. So that's it. So thank you for listening.